did you go to school?
And here's your...
What do you think of what's going on right now, mate?
These evil little invisible parasites.
Satan-worshipping Freemason moron.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
We're not run by factions.
Get the fuck out of camera!
There are much more powerful international forces in play.
Is this pink guy? Is this what pink guy is? I don't fucking know what's happening.
Please go outside and look at the moon quickly.
It's been crazy, guys, but guess what? It's how it is, mate.
Mate, because I want to do you slowly.
But I ain't spending any time on it.
Welcome to the Conditional Release Program, a podcast that delves into the netherworld of cults, crims, and con artists. I'm Jack the Insider, otherwise known as Peter Hoisted for tax purposes.
And I'm Joel Hill, and today we are asking the hard questions. Will Bobby Kennedy Jr. kill more people than Elon Musk?
There's a vexed one. And which came first, the con man or the SovCit?
Yeah.
Which reminds me of a wonderful Rodriguez cartoon, magnificent American cartoonist, where a chicken and egg are lying in bed together having a post-coital smoke. The egg tells the chicken, of course you came first. You always come first.
Very good. And it's that kind of no-nonsense humor that we're looking at today because there is so much to be happy about. Measles is back. Yay!
It's
back in the US. Thanks to Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, he started out killing Samoans. Now he's moved up to the big league where he's killing America's kiddies.
Ooh.
There are just 100,000 Samoan children, about 97,000 I just found out.
Rookie
while
numbers.
the US boasts 73 million kiddies.
Ooh.
So Bobby Jr.'s got a huge challenge to kill as many of them as possible. And frankly, I think he's the right man for the job.
Absolutely. But of course, it goes without saying that none of this would be possible without beer.
You can get it falconing. You can get it running a concentration camp for fat kids. You can get it killing a child from a preventable disease. Matter of fact, I've got it now.
Yes, of course. And the best cold beer is CBCO beer. No copyright infringement there. And if you like a bargain, use the CRP10 code at the checkout. And for the mere price of the dignity of the United States of America, you can have fresh cases of beer delivered to your door. Buy enough of it and the delivery is free. Now,
wow.
If the US is running out of dignity, you can still pay with money. But only fiat currency, folks, because all the crypto is going into Donald's weird fucking scammy US crypto reserve. What could possibly go wrong?
It's settled down a bit, the crypto markets. They've been very, very volatile.
They
mainly
pumped
going
today.
downwards in the last couple of weeks.
He announced the bloody the crypto reserve. Now they've pumped.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
scam.
back they go.
Such a fucking scam.
And because we couldn't and we cannot live on beer alone, although Joel is giving it the old college try, we do ask our listeners to sign up for the Patreon to support the podcast.
Go to patreon.com/conditional release program, and for as little as $5 a month, you'll get access to all manner of behind the paywall content, spicy stuff, including Jack swearing at Donald Trump, Jack swearing at Bobby Kennedy, and Jack swearing even more at Elon Musk.
Laminated face cunt is what comedian Bill Burr calls Elon, and to date, despite my accomplished swearing talents, I have been unable to beat that as an insult. But we can't worry about that now because we have a show to do.
Yes, in the words of another Bill, this time serial sex pest and former Fox News host Bill O'Reilly, fuck it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Now, I've been saying for some time that Bobby Kennedy Jr. will kill more people than Elon Musk. My only qualifier is we won't be able to do any meaningful death count for a century or two.
See, cop out.
Off for a little while. It will take that long to determine how many people, children mainly, will die as a direct consequence of his disgraceful anti-vax advocacy. There is the possibility of a return of polio, possibly, and definitely measles, where a child in the United States has died from the disease for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks after his confirmation as Health and Human Services Secretary, Bobby Kennedy Jr. has said that a measles outbreak has occurred. He's confirmed that on his watch, and the old charlatan still won't promote vaccines as part of his health advice. NBC reports.
Little is known about the child besides that they were school age, unvaccinated, and lived in an area of West Texas with the Mennonite community. Yes. What are the Mennonites, just as a side panel? Religious sect?
Yeah, look, a religious sect. I often sort of put them in the same place as, the sort of Amish. I think there's
Okay. Because
A little
they're
bit
like the
similar there.
Maronites, but they're very different. Yeah, these sound
No,
very
that's
Amish.
a little bit different.
Yeah, one of the Google things is what is the difference between Amish and Mennonites? I'm going to go with not much.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat less prescriptive than.
Yes, Mennonites are less weird about electricity.
Yeah, and they're okay with using buttons.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it seems like a pretty good way to get around things. Still, not big on vaccines, apparently. And as the article continues, sorry, the detour there, where vaccine refusal is among the highest in the country. It runs about 82% in that particular community. And
So they've got 82% vaccinated, but and that's so they're not immediately, like they're not obviously averse like we might find in Byron Bay, for example.
Yes,
where you have
exactly.
much lower rates of vaccination, childhood vaccination.
Yeah, they like their sort of, what they do in Byron is basically they don't vaccinate their children until their benefits are threatened, and then, family tax credits, not necessarily like New Start, and then they don't tell anyone that they vaccinated their children and just sort of lie about it in public. That's
What's really annoying is New South Wales Health have taken Byron Council out of its stats. Well, they haven't taken them out, but they've actually pushed them into another larger area. So it doesn't mean we have this, this obvious difference between vaccination rates in Byron Bay and elsewhere in Northern Rivers.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think it was an administrative thing, but it just doesn't help us data analysts. But anyway, the CDC, before Kennedy got hold of it, maintains that 95%, not 82 or 92, but 95% or more MMR vaccination rates are required to keep children safe. In another administration, the death of this child and the growing outbreak that has sickened more than 150 people, mainly children, across Texas and New Mexico, and hospitalised 20, would likely have been met with urgent calls from the President and Health Secretary for parents in Texas and beyond to vaccinate their children. The measles, mumps and rubella vaccine is safe, well studied, and the only effective method of preventing an illness that can cause a high fever, pneumonia, and in rare cases, brain swelling that is disabling or fatal. This is still from the NBC article, I might say. Mm-hmm. So what did anti-vax Kennedy say about the outbreak and the death of the unvaccinated child? Sweet fuck all, as it turns out, including a few lies. Give them to us, Joe.
I'm not doing the voice. This is him. We are following the measles epidemic every day, Kennedy said, adding that, incidentally, there have been 4 measles outbreaks this year. Sorry, that's as good as I'm getting it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was right. In this country last year, there were 16. So it's not unusual. We have measles outbreaks every year. Why didn't you realise that?
So nothing to see here, you old fucking fraud. Kennedy then said that hospitalised children were there mainly for quarantine. That's a direct quote. An assertion swiftly dismissed by the chief medical officer at the Lubbock Children's Hospital, where all those 20 hospitalised victims are being treated, not victims, but sufferers. And they were all admitted due to having difficulty breathing. Hospitals don't do quarantine. I mean, they can do it on a one-on-one basis, but they're not going to do it in an outbreak like this.
No, it's a ridiculous thing to say, and it's very similar to the fact that, like, Bobby Kennedy just lies. And, might be calling him Bobby Kennedy. I know he's Bobby Kennedy Jr. It's just I'm lazy and Australian. I don't say
Bobby Jr. We'll call him Bobby Jr.
All right, that works. So Bobby Jr., with the whole Samoa thing, he said in the Senate confirmation that the samples went to New Zealand for testing and it wasn't measles. They didn't know it was killing the kids. And the Samoan health minister at the time has come out absolutely scathing and just said, no, it's fucking bullshit, bro. You fucking came over with a bunch of anti-vaxxers and fucking measles killed the kids.
Put the hard word on the president of Samoa. And bit by bit, through advocacy in Samoa, vaccination rates dropped to, I think they got down to around 60%.
Yeah. So this is the thing. He just lies. And then you'll have an official come out later and say, he just lied. He just lied about that. He just lied about it, and that was that. And that's it. But no one gives a fuck because he's already said it.
The next day after the announcement of the death, the Centre for Disease Control and Prevention posted a statement on its website offering condolences for the child who died and outlining ways it was supporting Texas and New Mexico health agencies as the states led the on-ground response. Give me that statement, Joel.
The CDC statement included a line on vaccines as, quote, the best defense against measles infection, but did not urge the public to get vaccinated. And day after that, Kennedy posted a similar note to his official X account, concluding, quote, ending the measles outbreak is a top priority for me and my extraordinary team at HHS. Mm-hmm.
And look, it is obvious that the child would be alive now if it weren't for Bobby Jr.'s anti-vax advocacy through the Children's Defence League. Mm-hmm. And measles was considered eradicated in the United States in 2000, which means there was a year without any cases reported. Now, I just want to break away just for a moment, Joe. The CDC reported, I think, some 50 cases of measles in that year. So if you do look the stats up, listeners, that's what you'll find. But those 50 people were essentially travellers coming into the United States.
Yep, that's a thing.
And when you've got very high rates of vaccination, it just doesn't matter.
No.
So anyway, a bit of history here. The MMR vaccine was first licensed for use in 1971. The CDC reported 27,000 cases of measles in the United States in 1989. 10 years later, there were just 141, most of those infections coming from overseas travellers, as I said before. And in 2000, measles was declared eradicated in the United States. And there were cases, as I said before, but no more measles.
No.
As an infectious disease. Hooray!
Yeah.
And an end to one of the most infectious diseases that kills children or blinds them. Measles infection basically puts the immune system on hold. It's not it's not just a harmless childhood illness. It's extremely nasty.
It's not benign.
But during that period of infection, your immune system is basically put on hold. Your
immune system.
And so, the issue for those infected, especially those unvaccinated, is a subsequent infection, including upper respiratory tract infections. We heard the doctor before at the clinic saying, or at the hospital saying, those children were admitted because they had breathing difficulties. Mm-hmm. In rare cases, and that's around a 1 in 10,000, measles infection is linked to encephalitis and can cause further serious health issues up to 30 years after measles infection.
That's fucking crazy. I didn't expect.
Now, it's 1 in 10,000, so it's a fairly... it's a bit of a lottery there, but the more measles you have, the more likely that will be the case.
I would buy a lottery ticket if the odds were 1 in 10,000. I would buy that ticket.
Yeah, well, there is that old line, and if anyone offers you 10,000 to 1, you take it.
Yeah, from Kevin.
So these are the sorts of childhood illnesses, infant mortality you're looking at, and of course this is of no moment to the Charlotte and Bobby Jr. And what should be catching his eye but won't is the instance of measles recorded in the last decade, which shows measles is back largely due to his anti-vax rhetoric bullshit.
Oh, totally. Yeah, 100%. So in 2011, there were 220 cases of measles in the US, and by 2018, that had risen to 382 cases. It's a big country. It's pretty small. 2019 saw the largest number of measles infections since 1990, with more than 1,200 infections. And then followed those sort of COVID years where infection rates were low, which makes sense because the prevention measures in place for COVID are naturally prevention measures for other diseases like measles. But then in 2024, the infections grew again to 242, and we are at 165 cases and counting in the present year. It's only going to go up. And on the same day the child died in Texas, the Children's Defense League website included a story that measles infection was not a danger and that infection was good for the old immune system. Classic. Then they had the temerity to suggest the current outbreak in West Texas was a direct result of the vaccine itself.
There you go.
These fucking idiots. And they always have to make these outlandish, dumb shit claims because the logical answer is so obvious to people. Get your children vaccinated. Don't listen to scumbag lawyers who make their living from suing vaccine manufacturers. Follow the money.
Yeah, I guess it must be said that Kennedy has no management or oversight role with the Children's Defence League anymore. But that was the line they ran on the day that young child died.
It's just amazing.
Here's another little stat from all but one of the hospitalised children were unvaccinated.
Yep.
And the outbreak is expected to grow. I listened to she's a PhD student in infectious diseases. She sends out her messages on Instagram, gives updates on measles, influenza. About 50,000 people in the United States currently being affected by influenza. Been a nasty year. And of course, Kennedy is refusing to advocate influenza vaccines.
No, apparently they've cancelled the meeting to choose the strains to vaccinate. Yeah, the flu season's going to be the worst because they're not going to have an adequate flu response because of some half-cocked idea that flu shots are going to turn you into a fucking reptile.
Look, I'd throw this over. I know we've got a lot of doctors and a lot of health workers who are listening. Please let us know. I mean, the bits that I have been reading about H5N1 and its potential virus breakdowns can cause all sorts of problems. I mean, like massive pandemic problems.
Yeah, okay.
If allowed. Well, we've certainly seen that H5N1 jump. But anyway, this rather lovely, helpful woman on Instagram, she's sort of recording as best she can. She used to work almost in close collaboration with the CDC, but that's not possible anymore.
No.
So she ekes out whatever information she can get from her mates in the CDC, but nothing official.
Fucking Morse code from the basement or something.
And so, yeah, just in relation to this measles outbreak, they know of at least one infected person who's made his way or his or her way to San Antonio, which is a city of 1.5 million people in Texas. And of course, there have been infections noted in New Mexico. The Mennonite community is in West Texas on the border with New Mexico. So it's spread that far. She's saying she would expect that measles outbreak to spread much further.
Great. I wouldn't be surprised.
Of course, we know that Kennedy's anti-vax advocacy effectively killed 83 children in Samoa from measles.
Good.
But he's just calling that a good start. He's got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And P.S., as we record this, Bobby Jr. has limply promoted the MMR vaccine, but added it was a personal choice for people to take the MMR vaccine or have their children take the MMR vaccine. So really no change there. Fuck off, Bobby.
Oh, no, totally. I mean, like, you can just imagine all the fucking systems he's dismantling in the background to make it more difficult to get, and also continuing the propaganda machine that basically says it's personal choice, but I wouldn't do it because you're going to turn your kid into a fucking autistic reptile.
No.
What a cunt.
Oh, some of the stuff he said about the flu vaccine, too, is just outrageous. I would never get the flu vaccine,
Ooh, your Bobby Jr. is getting better. That was pretty good.
It's getting better. I've seen a lot of comics doing it now, and you see that he really sort of stumbles over words while he's got that voice as well. So you got to do that. So he said I would never have an influenza vaccine. So there's just no advocacy while they've got a pretty big influenza season. I'm not sure they're coming to an end. Fairly significant numbers, 50,000 infected.
Yeah.
And just no instruction from the most senior, and this is laughable in itself, the most senior health administrator in the country.
It's mental. And look, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a lot of incentive packages and things like that from the federal government to incentivize organizations to vaccinate people. And while I do believe that most doctors have good intentions, I think a lot of health company managers are pieces of shit. And the thing that they've probably been reacting to is some kind of federal handout. And if that's gone, well, they might just not bother freeing up the space for the flu shots anymore. Yeah. And if that's the case, then you are going to kill people. Anyway,
worse than
damage
that,
is
too. They're going to clutch on, as Kennedy has always done, Bobby Jr., they're going to grasp at these studies that most of them are poorly run, if not
retracted.
And he's going to cite them, and he's going to say, "All right, well, we need to do more work into the polio vaccine, for example."
Yeah. I believe one of the studies he mentioned in his Senate confirmation several times was retracted like fucking yonks ago, but he just cites it. And like, unless you've got, this is the thing, the Brandolini's law thing. It's so much harder to refute bullshit when someone's there happy to just lie through their teeth. Honestly, I think his little croaky voice is a fucking great veil for the fact that he can just lie, because he can be like, I didn't say that. And you can just sound like this like doddering old man when you want to be. And you can make these absurd fucking claims and wield ultimate power, not just in the HHS, but also through the Children's Health Defence and these other platforms. Fuck that guy. I hate him so much.
Fuck that guy, Bobby Jr. All right. Well, he is well on track, I think, to kill more people than Elon Musk.
Competitive.
We won't be able to do the body count for 150 years or so.
So, they're cop-out
But I'm
words.
sure I'm right about this.
Well, I think Elon Musk is going to have a lot to answer for. Anyway, think about all the people that he's had, like, just AIDS drugs just withdrawn from in fucking Africa through USA. Just gone. Yeah. There's no more AIDS drugs.
That's right.
That's that. You're just dead now. And if you're pregnant, your child now has AIDS. Congratulations.
What was it?
It's a boy
$50 million worth of condoms in Gaza that were actually going to Madagascar as AIDS prevention. They're not there anymore.
Nope. Yep. Everyone's getting AIDS. Anyway, fun times. On to the next bit.
Yes, the very next bit.
Cows have fucking masks on.
Everybody is up for the high jump if they deserve it. If they deserve to hang, they will hang.
Rise up, Australia. Men of Australia, time to step up and be real men. Protect your kids or go down biggest cowards this country has ever seen. Hang that animals.
World news has been a bit overwhelming and rather depressing recently. Musk is actively destroying the US public service with prepubescent teenagers. Trump is destroying the post-World War II order with a raccoon, apparently. Betfair has the Liberals winning the next election, $2.50 to $1.65. I think those odds have actually widened since yesterday.
I thought it was about 230. Yes, yeah.
No, I think it's more. Betfair's better than Sportsbet. You might be looking at that one, though.
And look, that is obviously forming government. So I'm not sure the bookies fully understand. Can I quickly explain how that would work?
Yeah, let's do it, because I don't think this is going to happen.
In the event where neither major party got to the 76-seat majority, you need 76. That'll give you 75 on the floor because you'll need to appoint a speaker. Anyway, if neither side can get to the majority, then even if this would change if Labor got about 60, low 60s, and the coalition were, let's say, 72. But if they were around about the same number, Labor just a bit behind, Labor just a bit in front, which is probably more likely than not, then what happens constitutionally is the sitting Prime Minister goes to the Governor-General, and the Governor-General says, can you form a government? And the sitting Prime Minister says yes. So the opposition leader has no role in it, unless the leader of, or the sitting Prime Minister says, no, I can't. But it's not very likely.
It's not going to be a hostile crossbench. And the crossbench will be basically independents.
No, there may be a few weird independents thrown in that we can't really see, but Labor would have to absolutely get spanked on around sort of 61, 62 seats. Anything higher than that, then they will be asked to form a government, and unless the mass are completely gone, they'll give it a try. So they would be the next sworn-in government. That's what I'm saying to the bookies. You perhaps don't understand how this works.
You don't know how hard it is not to put $8,000 on this election, because I think this is a fucking slam dunk, and the odds are insane. It's very difficult for me.
Yes, you probably should leave it alone. Otherwise, we would have to say of you, Joel, that you had not learned anything.
No, and I a lot of my friends pitched in to give me not $8,000, but a couple to say that here's some money, never gamble again, and I accepted that. And
so you have to honor that, Joel.
Fuck, the odds are bullshit. Anyway, as I sort of just said in the further bit of the script, which was going to go on to say that yes, I really want to bet on those odds because I think they're bullshit, and I think you agree. I just really. And I also just don't think the election's going to go like that. I think everyone's pissy with Albo, but at the very last minute, they're going to look at Timu Trump and just go, I don't want Jacinta Price and Gina Reinhart dismantling the public sector? The fuck are you talking about? I'm voting fucking... I think the Greens are going to clean up a few contentious seats, and I think independents are going to have a great time. And I'm very surprised to see that Cookers haven't mobilised this election, which means that I just don't think it's going to be a big Cooker influence. I would have thought that a lot of Cooker
it seems like
the
minor right-wing parties have sort of more or less got their act together.
They're quite quiet, though.
It is quite quiet. We're not seeing a lot of the advanced stuff. I've seen a little bit of it. In fact,
I've seen heaps of
some unwelcome news, Joel. ADH from ADH TV.
Yes.
They've just purchased Channel 7 Tasmania.
The fuck?
I know.
How is that legal? Oh, my God.
Well, it's a private company purchasing it. But, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out.
Oh, my God. We're going to be seeing fucking Sky News, ADH TV, Letters from a Schoolboy Part 1, ADH TV, Sky News. Can I leave that in? I mean, come on. It's true, right?
Maybe a role for Alan Jones there.
Yeah, well, man, that's his company, isn't it?
No, it's not his company. No, it's owned by a young conservative guy. I'm just trying to think of his name, but spent a bit of time in the UK, came back and started this sort of low-level media company. He's got a few bucks. And,
I bet he's an incel unfuckable.
I don't know. What would you buy Channel 7 Tasmania for? I mean,
Pill Tasmanians.
Won't be a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but it's a lot of influence. Very Elon Musk move at a very sad and weird kind of level. Anyway, look, I'm going to say, as a bit of a pitch, that even domestic cookerdom has been pretty depressing. I mean, we always said that after the pandemic, a lot of cookers were going to get bored and give up, and that kind of happened, really. A lot of them sort of vanished. A few of them stuck around because they have nothing else to live for. But we also said the ones remaining would become a bit more militant. And I must say, like, in retrospect on this kind of had a bit of a fracture because Bosie lost his relevance after daring to take on Guru about that pancake money, which the Tinfoil Tales girls covered very well. We saw a bit of a power vacuum take place in the movement. And the thing about power vacuums is they're usually filled by things or people worse than what was there before.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, generally speaking. Afghanistan, there's a pattern here. So we now have a cooker movement which has had a power vacuum that is being clearly co-opted by actual Nazis. So we always said there was going to be a pretty solid cooker to Nazi pipeline. You got all these idiots like fucking El Salzone going, I saw this movie called Europa, The Great Battle. It was only 12 hours and I loved it. How the fuck you can get through 12 hours of a documentary and be that fucking pointless and stupid, I don't understand. But it's all these brainwashing instruments that have turned these people into fucking Holocaust-denying Nazis. But trying to keep their new interest in World War II a bit quiet was one of their, priorities in life. Just tone it down. Don't mention the war. Well, I guess after Elon Musk went mask off, and admittedly sometime before that, people have been feeling pretty fucking galvanized and quite comfortable making obvious Nazi dog whistles in public.
Quite a lot of it going on.
It's not great. So, look, taking cookers seriously is not our game, so I'm not going to worry about that. They are, generally speaking, not serious people. That's what's funny about them. They are funny. Nazis are Asia's problem. If you want serious commentary, Tom Tanuki's over there. He's doing great work. Let's see what our favorite dipshit clown motherfuckers are up to now.
Yeah, so let's kick off Cooker Update with some good news. Dave Oneegs has been banned from Instagram.
Aww. Now, to be honest, I actually didn't know that Dave Oneegs was on Instagram. I don't use it. I fucking hate it. But look, I know you dabble in a bit of the old gram. You send me all those DMs on Instagram that I never look at because I don't log in. Then I see those 10 messages. I'm like, oh shit, I should probably look at them. But didn't Mark Zuckerberg just come out in favor of sort of free speech and all that shit? Like, isn't comedy legal again or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I went and had a look. I've never seen Oneegs pop up in any of my reels, because I'd remember it. But I went looking. There's a number of Oneegs accounts that are still alive. There's one that's dead, and I presume it's that one. But there are a number. There's a number of parody accounts too.
Very good.
And there are a couple, that seem like Oneegs. Then when you read into them, you go, "Oh, that's not Oneegs at all." No. So I guess he has been given the flick.
Aw, that's very sad.
It is a bit.
Well, look, it's not an official flick. He has 180 days to appeal. I imagine he'd be busy at work typing out his appeal in crayon. But he might not lose the entire account. We don't know. But he is moaning about losing the content, of course, because, as one of our beloved shitposts had commented, he actually has 180 days to download that content to his computer. He's just moaning. He's not sad to lose the content. He's sad to lose the attention. Like, just a fucking crybaby. Just get a job. Honestly, just get a job. You're a qualified tradesman. I think you're a chippy.
One of our listeners posted him talking about Ukraine. I mean, whenever he talks geopolitics, you just feel like slapping him. But there he was, sort of pro-Russian.
Oh yeah,
beat again.
Yeah, no, he's very much on the pro-Russian thing. They've really galvanized around Trump on this one, and it's really cringe. It's just that. It's that thing of thinking that you're counterculture and thinking that you're sort of butting against something, but you're actually just an embarrassing, gullible
freedom advocates who get into bed with an autocrat. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, Joe.
It's so good. Imagine all those Melbourne protests, all those Canberra protests in Russia. They would have been shot, not with rubber bullets, real bullets.
The goes first.
These fucking idiots. But that's all very fun, and I'm going to have to go a little bit dark here because in other Oneegs news, which is far more concerning, he has been spruiking a Bali development with webinars featuring Jamie McIntyre, who, for some reason, we can explain this later, I'm sure, is going by the name of Jamie Mac. Now, do you think that might be because when you search for Jamie McIntyre, the first results are terms like serial scammer, con man, evasive witness, they come up. Do you think that could be why he's calling himself Jamie Mac?
Either that or he's just gone casual,
Yeah,
just call me Mac.
Yeah, no, Elon Musk has brought t-shirts and jeans back to the White House. I think Jamie Mac's got a real point here. He's on trend. And I love that. I love that about him. So, look, on the Conditional Release Program, we like to hear both sides. We like to air things out. So according to Ethan Lee from the Tech Billion website, Jamie McIntyre is
empowering Australians through Bali real estate investment. Oh, this sounds golden already, Joel.
That's good. Isn't that good? And there's an article he posted in May 2024, and it claims this.
Jamie McIntyre, he wasn't a bit young to be James Mac by then, but he was Jamie McIntyre, is the founder of over 12 companies. 12! Count them! The turnover in excess of $60 million annually. My God, he's a freak. He's a business freak. He's a genius.
To be fair, he is a freak because he's got a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. None of those pies have apple in them. They are full of sawdust. So this might come as a surprise to ASIC, who banned him from company directorships and giving financial advice for 10 years in 2016. Is that?
Ooh, let me have a quick look at the calendar, Joel. Just on 2025, so I'm pretty sure he's not allowed to do anymore. Maybe Jamie Mac can.
Oh, I like it.
Maybe Jamie Mac can, but Jamie McIntyre can't.
Jamie McIntyre is his straw man, so that is fair. You just got to leave that shit aside and just move on. So this was due to his involvement in a land banking scheme in Victoria, which saw over 100 investors lose $7 million on developments that were never completed under a managed investment scheme that was never registered.
Oh,
good. Yeah.
As he's matured, I hope Jamie Mac has learnt from this.
Yes, he's evolved like a butterfly. No reference. So if all this sounds a little bit like a PR puff, well, it might be a hint that our author, Ethan Lee at Tech Billion, holds a prestigious journalistic title of content marketer.
Oh, that sounds so much better than journalist.
And I said I wanted to air out both sides. Jamie told Fairfax in 2016 that he was the victim of a witch hunt.
I think it's Nine Media now, Joel, but in 2016 it might have been Fairfax, but he told presumably the Herald, I'm a victim of a witch hunt. It's a fantastic. If you ever get nailed for anything, that's your first line of defense.
But it's also 2016, which means that assuming it was early in 2016 and Trump hadn't done the witch hunt thing.
Yeah,
maybe Trump got witch hunt from Jamie Mac.
At this stage, the federal court hadn't determined that he not be a company director or give financial advice for 10 years.
Yeah,
so maybe pre-trial.
Maybe. Either way, witch hunt. So the Tech Billion article also claims this.
The 21st Century Group has grown to be one of the largest financial education resources in Australia. It's a limited field. But anyway, this is an unfortunate situation for the actual 21st Century Property Group, which is a completely different company unrelated to Jamie Mack. You would have seen 21st Century. There's a whole, I think it's a franchise, Joel.
No, this is a much smaller organization that basically does the same thing as Jamie McIntyre does, but not scamming. Right. And like all these articles now have this clarification at the bottom saying, this is not us. We have this business name. It's attached to this ACN.
Please do not call us Jamie Mack.
Please do not assume that we are scamming because we're kind of doing the same. Because, like, not the same thing, obviously. God, they seem very litigious. But, like, they're developers. They're probably developers. You know, it's a fucking property group, whatever.
An important differentiation to make here, Joel. Very good.
Yes. Well, I mean, they don't deserve what is coming to them as a result of this fucking guy. So, even so, look, the 21st Century Group companies' tech billing reports were liquidated by courts.
Ouch.
So he's not allowed to give financial advice, yet he runs some sort of financial education resources thing through this. But it's a group that he's not really meant to be calling group because that's the Sydney company. But the 21st Century Property Company, 21st Century Education, these apparently were part of a Pilbara property investment scheme, which was misleading and deceptive. Yes. They're legal words. And breached financial advice laws.
Yes, it would be hard to see how you could do anything else.
Yeah,
I'm going to say, just go out on a limb that no prospectus was issued.
Yeah, well, look, I wouldn't be surprised there was a very glossy PDF because this guy is prolific.
But not containing the gear that you need to make a financial decision.
True. And look, let's face it, 21st Century Education were also providing financial advice out of license. So you can see a pattern here, you know, doesn't like licenses or responsibility or legitimacy or anyway. So Jamie's also dabbled in cryptocurrency. Not surprising.
Well, yeah, funny about that.
Yeah, so he's launched the Truth Coin.
Oh, yeah. I like it already.
Feels like someone else has already
done that. How much
are
they, Joel? How much are they?
Yeah, I don't think it's actually listed anymore. I went looking on exchanges and I couldn't find it.
There is a fart coin.
Yeah, I think fart coin got rug pulled and that sort of, you know, went nowhere, which is a real shame.
It's a shame.
But yeah, look, this is a cryptocurrency on the Polygon blockchain, and basically it's just like a weird thing. Like it's sort of like he says it gives you entitlements to the education, 21st century education, all that sort of stuff. Cryptocurrency can sometimes give you these like entitlements, and you sort of buy a membership into something. But the great thing that really backs is Truthbook Social. Now this is important because we don't have an uncensored social media platform. We need one. Truthbook.social is the answer. The issue with Truthbook.social is it doesn't resolve a DNS, so it's just
don't sign up yet. Don't sign up yet to Truthbook Social.
No, it's non-existent. And also, yes, Truthcoin is worth $0.00.
Well, buy me $1 million, Joel.
I know, right? Like at one point, it was worth 7 cents at its maximum. Well done, guys. Anyway,
very, very similar to our next con artist. But keep going, Joel.
So look, he also has truthlook.com, which is a search engine that gives you uncensored results. I typed in Jamie McIntyre into that, and I just got getting result, and it is spinning wheels. It never went away.
No, Jamie Mack, haven't heard of him.
No, I'm still waiting on that one. So that's cool. I was wondering what he would say about himself, and he had nothing to say.
So how is Oneegs hooked up with this bloke, Joel? Come on.
Well, this is the thing, right? So it's like a barley development that he's doing. ASIC really needs to know about it, and I'm not going to tell listeners what to do, but if they want to throw them a line, that's fine. And basically, I'm guessing Oneegs is trying to get people to invest in this and take a commission. That's the only thing I can come up with. I have not watched the webinars. The Tinfoil Tales girls would have watched the webinars. That's what they do. And they actually find this stuff out. And then they come back and report on it because they are better at this than I am. I don't do that. I can't handle the idea of that. My brain would explode. Yeah, but they've had webinars. And this is this great way of like, if you're going to run something that's not on the up and up, make sure you don't say things with records attached. Hold webinars. Tell people stuff in closed doors. And if someone is insane enough to actually bother to attend this and take notes, then yeah, maybe you're fucked. And maybe we should be doing that. Or maybe someone should be doing that. But maybe ASIC should be anyway. So look, I'm not calling.
Busy boys at ASIC, I got to tell you. But anyway.
Yeah, but this one's bad.
There's lots to keep them busy.
This should be Australian Federal Police.
This has got the red lights and the siren screaming. Yeah,
it really does. I think this guy should be in jail. I
mean, look, if it was the United States, we could say that. You know, Elon can just have him put in jail.
Yes, well. Oh no! I think
we have a process here, Joel.
Oh no! I think he was
presumption of innocence and all that kind of thing.
I believe a prosecution could be successful. But look, I reversed. Allegedly, I am not calling Jamie McIntyre a serial conman. Good. Others have done so.
Others obviously have.
I would not do so. But look, if we were to go any further than this, it'd be full episode. This guy is a busy man. I've never seen so many fucking logos in my life. But the one thing I can say is that Dave Oneegs either knows all of this and is fine with it, or he really is dumber than we thought.
Ooh.
It's a coin toss, isn't it?
It's
fucking up in the air, right?
I mean, I really don't rate Oneegs all that highly. So if he's dumber than I thought, we are still talking about sort of single cell amoeba now.
Yeah, and look, there is a way of finding this out. Okay, so there is a way of finding this out. I'm going to give you a hint from Jamie. I'm sorry, Tech Bullion. Because of course they're not the same person.
Not
right?
the same guy.
No, he didn't just send that press release in with $100 and call it a day. This is from the.
So this is from Tech Bullion, who isn't Jamie Mac, but probably
this is from the end of the article. Here's a hint as to why you shouldn't trust Jamie McIntyre.
Some people have been spreading rumours about him, and some fake media articles, damn that fake media, have been triggering around keyword Jamie McIntyre Australia, Jamie McIntyre scam, Jamie McIntyre Barley. There is no need to pay attention to those articles. Just cast them from your mind. It's like they never, ever happen.
Nah, don't listen to haters, mate. Don't listen to haters. They're just jealous of all the money we're going to make in Bali and these investment schemes that definitely work out well for everyone, including you. Go on, invest, have fun. Tell us how you go.
He loves to hook onto a scam, doesn't he, Oneegs? He really does.
It's just sad. I mean, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Like, start your own fucking land banking scam, you spineless bitch. If you're going to be involved in criminal activity, you may as well make some money out of it, not just 15%. Good Lord.
But now we must turn our attention to another domestic cooker update, and this one is regarding the guru and particularly his face, which isn't pleasant. It's never really been pleasant, let's be fair, but it's even more unpleasant than it was a month ago.
Well, I mean, look, it used to be his lip, right? Now it's his face. I mean, like, the line is starting to fucking blur. We saw the big man wearing a bandage on his lip, and it seemed clear that he had sought medical advice and had that thing cut out. That's why you wear the bandage, right? Because you just had a surgical wound, right?
He's had it lanced. He's been lanced.
Dr. Nino was talking to William Bay because he does reach across the aisle a lot, and he was saying, please just reach out to Guru and get him to just get this fucking thing done because he's going to die. Dr. Nino's got the whole do no harm thing going for him. You know, he's hypocriting all over the place. Look, while I will say when it comes to Guru, we disagree on a few things like the Jews and Lezo's ability to play soccer, for example. I don't wish harm upon the guy. And I say
Lezo's or Lebos?
Lezo's. But I imagine he'll probably have issues with most racist
But anyway, we'll move on.
And issues in the community. Look, we don't just sort of agree on that last point, which is that I don't wish harm upon the guy.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that either. I mean,
but he seems to wish harm upon himself.
Yeah, well, it's just insane. part of that cult behaviour.
He's doubling down. That's for damn sure. I mean, like he's decided
he's a terrible cult leader because the cult leader would be rushing out and getting medical attention right now, professional 100%. Medical advice,
and telling others not to.
But he is saying, "Oh, I'm going to practice what I preach," which is kind of it's not as disgraceful as the cult leader who dashes off with the stolen funds and gets the surgery.
Everyone else drinks the Kool-Aid and he drinks the water. It's kind of the way it tends to work. So, yeah, poor old Captain Birdseye has decided that the power of prayer is an adequate replacement for basic medical assistance, and he's going to die by that sword.
It's going to come as a bit of a disappointment to him. The power of prayer isn't all it's cracked up to be.
No. Oh, well. So while we are not doctors or medical experts, we accept this. We do have a couple on the shitposting site, and the word of the week is fungating. Is that how you say it? Fungating? Fungating? I think fungating.
Like tailgating, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's the fun version of pus-filled wounds. So look, what this means, it apparently means the cancer or tumour, which we don't know, but we suspect is cancerous by now, I suppose. We haven't done a biopsy, right? That was growing under the skin has broken through the surface of the skin to create a wound, hence the bandage.
Yep.
But that's my take. Here's a description of the condition from Cancer Research UK. They put it much more succinctly.
A fungating tumour is when a tumour that is growing under the skin breaks through the skin surface and creates a wound. Fungating describes what the cancer might look like. They can grow in the shape of a fungus or a cauliflower.
Mm-hmm.
Take your pick. As the cancer, I'll go with the cauliflower. Do you mind if I go with the cauliflower? Oh, I don't like cauliflower. Can I have a fungus on my face?
It's more like a button mushroom, I think. A button mushroom of death.
As the cancer grows, Cancer Research UK goes on to say, it blocks and damages small blood vessels. This reduces the oxygen supply to the area. So the skin and tissue underneath dies. It becomes necrotic, and the wound can become ulcerated and infected. It can also have a bad smell. Ooh. But, Guru, he's not smelling of bloody roses anyway, is he?
No, I think this is sort of blended into the sort of bouquet of the Guru.
Decaying smell, body odor, and
it's
an
very
ass
sad.
wiped, and an ass badly wiped, and then the fungating tumours kick in.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, look, at least we now know for sure that Guru believes his own bullshit. Because I tell you what, like you said, man, a proper
sad.
cult leader
Really
would have
sad.
just fucking gone to a doctor. It is sad. Look, we have to cover it because it's a cooker thing, and it's getting to the point where it's really getting quite big.
He's not a listener to this program, but we do not wish him any harm. And really, we just wish, mate,
just go to a fucking
drop the
doctor.
bullshit. Listen, you can just skate away with this. Drop the bullshit and get treated.
Just get it done, mate.
I'm not going to think less of you. I'm going to actually think more of you.
It's not a vaccine anyway. For
maybe
fuck's
some
sake.
of you, the sort of rare handful of people who still listen to your bullshit will be affected by this. But I'm going to just come out and say, Guru, they're probably not your friends. They're not
Probably not your friends.
They're not your good friends.
Not your mates. No. I've seen this happen before. I've seen a friend of mine refuse treatment on a tumor that basically consumed his neck, and
I had an aunt. Yeah. I mean, she's been gone for many, many years, but she had a breast cancer. She had a tumor in her breast, and she was so ashamed at the thought of having to show a male doctor her breasts.
Oh my God,
that she just let it go, and she died of it.
Oh my God, that's awful. Yeah, my mate
it's just,
was just conspiracy theorist, and I remember supporting him in that. Anyway, it's a real dark chapter in my life, but that's fine. But yeah, I was quite encouraging of his decision not to get treatment.
Well, speaking of doctors, Joel, health treatments, a good friend of the podcast, Dr. Billy Bay, the victorious Dr. William Bay, has been winning again.
Yes.
Having once again found gainful employment as a GP, and he doesn't have to ride to and from on a bike.
No, he's gainfully employed and gainfully licensed. So, look, since Billy Bay had an actual win in court where APRA were shown to have completely fucked a follow procedure in banning Billy from practicing medicine, with Brisbane Supreme Court Justice Thomas Bradley finding Dr. Bay had been subject to, quote, bias and failure to afford fair process. Ouch. And this was over complaints unrelated to his clinical practice, and overturning his suspension, basically, as far as I know, immediately at that point.
Yes, it was, I think.
Has somewhat been able to go back to his former life, except for the fact that he's basically uninsurable and really easy to Google. And once you Google him, you just get anti-vax bullshit.
He's left a little bit of a trail on the internet, hasn't he?
He has. He's got breadcrumbs leading to the gingerbread house of fucking anti-vax bullshit and weird claims. So look, this has led to him not being able to hold down a job for too long. And by long, I mean a week,
like
a day.
Yeah.
Last one lasted a day. It's just very sad.
He clocks on and he clocks off very quickly thereafter.
He really, really does, yes.
And it was the last one was at Mont Health.
Yes.
It almost sounds like Victoria base, but anyway, maybe not. And he lasted there about 24 hours. And this is despite Dr. DoorDash having yet another win with the RACGP, the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, reinstating his membership in a firmly worded letter that states they are doing this solely due to the Supreme Court ruling and that they strongly disagree with his views on vaccination.
It wasn't a nice letter.
He also has to pay dues, which is a little bit funny since he can't get work, but he can get the concession rate, which is a casual, it's a grand, $985 for doctors who are registered but make less than $150K in practice before tax, and that's our man right there. Now, I think we can safely assume he falls into that category anyway.
I think so. And look, he won't have that problem for long because it appears that AHPRA have already received further complaints about Billy and are concerned about his conduct. I'm concerned about his conduct as well. He's a fucking idiot.
Well, so if you went to a bulk billing clinic and Billy Bay was just sitting across the desk from you, I'd be bailing out fairly quickly.
Oh, 100%. Oh, man. I mean, anyway. So, look, it looks like the victorious Billy Bay is on borrowed time as a registered health practitioner and member of the RACGP, assuming he paid his $1,000.
Yeah, they're not happy about him, are they? I mean, yes, with gritted teeth, we accept the decision of the Supreme Court.
Give us $1,000.
But we really want to fry this prick.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to give him a refund either. But look, he's going to have to keep that DoorDash rating up to keep paying his bills because
doing great work there, by the way. Doing excellent work.
I think he did 1,000 deliveries in Uber Eats, which is pretty good.
He's a fucking man mountain when it comes to food delivery.
He's doing great. I don't know why he can't do anything with his GP thing. He has to get a job. He doesn't have a hustle mindset. Real sad. But look, who knows? Maybe he will have another win. He does have God on his side. After all,
well,
so it's got to be worth something.
That does help.
It's doing great for Guru so far. So, yeah.
We fired you. We sacked you. We dismissed you as what? As garbage, because that's all you are. You're a criminal. You're a traitor. And you're going to the biggest barbecue in history. So from Christmas dinner to you are the dinner.
Thank you. That's what I'll go with.
On the Conditional Release Program, we ask the hard questions, and one brutal question is, are SovCits con artists, or were they con artists who became SovCits? Yeah.
It's a chicken and egg dilemma, but I'm going to come out on the chicken side when we look at the life and crimes of Grant Warren Hudson, a.k.a. Grant Hilton.
Who always comes first. You know he always comes first.
Now, we haven't checked Queensland's deed poll because you have to apply to the Supreme Court. That's crazy to me. You actually have to apply to the Queensland Supreme Court
to find out the name
if you want to determine if a name has been changed according to deed poll.
Interesting. Okay.
But I am assuming that Grant Warren Hudson's alter ego is little more than an alias.
Yes, Hilton does sound so much better than Hudson after all. Grant Hilton. It's very fancy. It's like he's been on this party circuit with Paris Hilton or the other one who doesn't party quite so much.
Yeah, what's her name? The other one?
Nicole? Something?
Nikki. Yeah, Nikki Hilton.
Yeah, Nikki, yeah.
So he'd be hanging with them. That's what he wants to get across, you see. We are doing quite a lot. We're doing some con artists today. This is a big one, folks.
Yeah, it is a big one. We like this one.
I love this. And it'll take a little while to get to the story, but a look at Hilton's Insta. It's at It's Grant Hilton. Just has 600 followers. He showcases his convicted fraudster Mien in photographs with the Dalai Lama.
Oh yeah.
Grant claims the Dalai Lama was his mentor, and has a few anecdotes on the wisdom of the 14th Dalai, and manages to photobomb his way into frame with other celebs, including Sir Richard Branson and Delta Goodrum. Did I give out that Insta tag properly, Joel? It's
I think you did.
It's Grant Hilton.
At It's Grant Hilton. Yep. That's the one.
Only a small number of followers there, but I suspect he's on the way up. But anyway, Grant Hilton was recently featured in a news.com.au report in one of the all too familiar episodes of SovCits being pulled over by the traffic wallopers in August last year. Well, in his case, it was August last year. But very, very, very familiar episodes. And news.com.au reports, Joe.
A sovereign citizen has uploaded footage of a strange interaction with Queensland police who stopped him for driving an unregistered vehicle. The man, who states that his name is Grant Warren Hudson in the footage, tells police during the roadside stop his car is registered under international law, not Queensland law. Well, here we go. After winding down the window, he first hands one of the officers a sheet of paper and states, quote, "You're being served with a document of mine for any unlawful detainment." He then tells the two officers his vehicle is privately owned, which is why it didn't come up on their registration system, and also telling them that his car is in dry dock.
In dry dock?
Well, dry dock.
It runs on land. It's not amphibious.
No.
It's a Kia, by the way. He's not driving around a roller or anything. But,
no.
We'll
He's very wealthy. He just chooses to drive that.
So you would say, just another SovCit with dodgy plates, an unregistered vehicle, and sneering at the cops and who have been unfortunate enough to have pulled him over. The document handed to the cops was the usual SovCit bullshit with a little cherry on the top. The cops would be subject to fines of $10,000 per hour.
Oh, good.
For every hour or part thereof, presumably, they kept him waiting.
Bargain.
Now, the whole thing looked performative. I remember looking at this and going, in fact, he came up on my Instagram account. And I remember looking at this and going, there's way more to this guy than would appear at face value. And we're about to show you what that is.
Yeah.
Because that whole thing, that whole SovCit episode with the police, he filmed it himself. And there's sort of, you go through some of his little vids on Insta, you'll see I think it's what looks to be his son. I don't know that for sure, but not an adult, put it that way, in the car shooting the film. I'm not entirely sure that that's the right sort of way to bring up a child, but anyway.
No.
So it did look performative, and he uploaded the video himself onto his Insta. And when we take a good look at him, it seems he's doing this sort of SovCit to promote his business investment services, of which there are significant numbers. Anyway, Joel, over to you.
So, look, anyway, the Wallopers were a bit confused at first, and they dialed into the police station and got some instructions, and then they let the idiot go and sent him a $1,500 worth of fines for use permit, use vehicle without number plate attached as required under regulation, make, sell, or possess something that resembles a registration certificate. Oh, I like that. That's a law. That's very funny. Number plate or permit. Driving an uninsured class 1, 2, blah, 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 motor vehicle on the road, and use permit use of unregistered 4-cylinder or 2-rotor motor vehicle. So basically just as many things as they could possibly find.
Yeah, so the coppers were called away. You see this on the film. The coppers go, wait a minute, what the fuck have I got here? What the fuck have we got here? And so what would normally happen is that the car, well, certainly in New South Wales, the car would be towed.
Yeah.
Right? Unregistered, dodgy plates, Yeah. It would be towed and he'd be asked to get out of the vehicle. He'd be handed the fines. He could raise those in court if he chose to, but the vehicle would be towed away. But they've come back, said they've gone and rung the police station and gone, what do we do with this guy? And they said, look, just let him go and we'll just, if you're satisfied that the address is correct on his license, then we'll just ping him out some fines in the mail.
Yeah. That being said, I think it's correct because when driving away, you are uninsured for the life of the other.
Yeah,
involved
that's why they tow away. That's right. So that's why they, as a rule, tow away.
Makes sense.
I guess someone some old senior sergeant back in the cop shop's going, it's fucking SovCit. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm just about to finish my shift, and I do not want it to be extended by having some of these shitbags in my police station.
Not fucking interested. So there is an interesting little chink in the armor here, which is that further in the statement, QPOL announced that a 54-year-old Callinger man who gave the name not Hilton but Grant Warren Hudson to the cops, that might have been a bit of a mistake.
There's your mistake right there,
Bit of a mistake.
And I'll explain why in a minute.
That gives it away.
But a look at Grant Hilton's numerous internet personas reveals he is a man of many talents. He's a director of a company called KSGH. Ooh, I can see a Grant Hilton in there. So there might be a wife, a spouse, whatever, make up the first two initials. KSGH International Limited. It's a registered private company that remains active according to the Australian Business Register. Grant had let the KSGH security domain expire. So I was halfway through the research on this, and then the domain expired.
Aww.
But it's back now.
It's good.
Obviously, just a bit of a liquidity issue, no doubt. So happily, we have been able to scroll around his shop page, and can see Grant is offering discretionary trusts for a mere 10 grand and something called international discretionary trusts at almost 25,000.
Ah, casual.
Now, for those who don't know, and I had to look it up myself, the filing fees to establish a discretionary trust are around $1,400.
Okay.
The remaining $8,500 is presumably charged for Grant's immense business advice. And please just beg him that he's actually going to file. Anyway, God only knows what an international discretionary trust is, but you better believe it costs a lot more, 15 grand more. Or you can just fork out $440 for general business advice from the man himself, or for $3,217 for some reason. You know, you think, look, if you're going to get into marketing, round that up, you know, put 99 cents on $3,216.95. So it looks less. Anyway, who am I? Who am I to question the vast business experience of Grant Hilton? But for that $3,217, he can set up a self-managed super fund for you. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Like, if you're going to set up a self-managed super fund, it's not going to cost you anything.
No.
You contact the company and you give them some cash and they give you the... Anyway, but that is why Grant is such an enigma in the business world, Joe.
Isn't he just... So now the 54-year-old Grant Warren Hudson, as identified by QPoll, says on one of his many websites he made $60 million by the time he was 28 years of age.
$60 million? Man must be a genius.
Where's the money, mate? I guess that was 26 years ago.
$60 million by the time he was 28 years of age.
Where's that gone, though? Maybe he was driving a $60 million Kia.
Well, if he was 54... in August of last year when he got pulled over by the Wallopers, and he made $60 million by the time he was 28 years of age. Well, that, therefore, Joel, was 26 years ago, or 1999. And what was Grant Warren Hudson doing in 1999?
What was he doing?
Making millions with his freakish business abilities, or hanging with the Dalai to muse on trees falling in forests?
Millions.
No, Grant was in jail.
Oh, that's close, though. It's close.
We know this because the Australian Competition and Consumer website has a number of entries for Grant, Warren Hudson, by the way, including this one from July 1999.
The full federal court today dismissed an appeal by Gold Coast businessman Grant Warren Hudson against his 6-month prison sentence. On 7th May 1999, Hudson was sentenced to 6 months jail after he and his company Gold Star Corporation Proprietary Limited were found guilty of contempt of court. Gold Star was also fined $30,000 in order to pay the ACCC's costs. Hudson appealed against his prison sentence, arguing that it was too severe. Yep. Apparently it wasn't.
No. Yes, well, the full federal court bench said that it wasn't. Subsequently, yes. Go on.
Yes, that
did
is
appeal.
A strong authority. Take it to the High Court, mate. Why not? It's the vibe. In an earlier proceeding, Hudson was given a 2-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years, and Gold Star was fined $10,000 for breaching an undertaking to the court that they would not seek payment for unsolicited advertising, which you're going to explain soon. Gold Star and Hudson were also enjoined from engaging in this conduct.
There you go.
See, the issue here is that when the ACCC obtained evidence that Gold Star had breached the injunctions by contacting businesses to demand payment for advertising they had never ordered, it took further action against the company to stop the conduct, and he went to fucking jail.
He went to jail over it.
What a fucking idiot.
And what SovCits Grant was doing 26 years earlier, and a good deal beforehand, was what is known in the publishing business as blowing or telefraud. That doesn't sound nearly as exciting.
I like
Grant
blowing.
had 3 magazines. If we put them all together, we should come to... What was how much money? How many millions of dollars did he have?
60, I believe.
He had $60 million, so maybe it's $20 million a title. The first magazine was called the National, Federal, State, and Local Government Advertiser.
Good.
The second one was the Municipal Trades and Services Directory.
Fair.
And the third was the Child Abuse Review.
What the fuck?
I know, he's jumped on that bandwagon too.
The fuck? And that was even before it was cool.
And so blowing, or with its much less exciting title of telefraud, involves someone like Grant grabbing artwork off the web for various companies and then publishing ads in any one of those three titles we just mentioned, and then send an invoice to the companies for the cost of the advertising. You'd be surprised how many companies would just pay. Because they'll send the artwork, the clip from the magazine, and they'll just send the invoice, and people will just sign it. So, they'll send it to the accounts department. The accounts department will sign. Every now and then, generally in small and medium-sized businesses, by the way, they'll go, what the fuck is this?
What the fuck are we doing?
We haven't even spoken to these clowns, and they're sending us $400 bills for a quarter-page ad.
100%. Yeah.
And before you know it, someone smart enough has said, I'm going to give the ACCC a call about this.
Good.
And then they got involved. So Grant was not just told to stop doing this while the prosecution was underway, but he was injuncted from demanding money from the so-called advertisers. Mm-hmm. And he breached the injunction on numerous occasions and was convicted of being in contempt of the federal court and did 6 months in a Queensland slammer, as we said before, for his trouble.
Aww.
It's not quite the same narrative Grant would once said about him, and I've been through his many, many web pages. His story goes that after making his $60 million, he took some time off to dwell on the philosophical and spiritual matters, which is a lovely euphemism for a prison sentence when you think about it. That is
very, very funny. It is very, very good. I just wanted to reflect a bit.
I'm reflecting. Very spiritual.
I just went and meditated, and the only place I could think of meditating was Silverwater Prison.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of meditating going on there, and stabbing.
So much meditating.
Mainly stabbing, but a bit of meditating.
Yeah, exactly. Look, two sides of the same coin. Look, there's nothing more meditative than a whole bunch of opiates and a bloody, in a bed. So the next time we hear from Grant, it's 2011, and he is in all his Hilton glory. Oh,
he's Grant Hilton now.
Fresh lick of paint, knocking around with a celebrity, a Bollywood celebrity at that, Tanya Zayeda. Although, to be fair, she will always be the hot chick from Who Dares Wins to me. I tell you what, back in the day, I
do remember her, but I watch a lot of commercial TV. So
as a
I don't remember any
teenager,
of that show. I vaguely remember Who Dares Wins, but I don't think I saw it.
Mike Whitney?
Oh, yeah, she did host with Mike Whitney. Yeah.
Like I thought the Test cricket part might trigger your brain on that. It was actually a great show.
Well,
it'd make you do random shit for like $50.
She basically did have a Bollywood background, Tanya Zayeda, and I'm sure
that was
many
after,
of our listeners
mate.
remember her from that, if not Who Dares Wins.
Well, there's only 1 billion people in India. I don't give a shit about that. It's Who Dares Wins, the thing that 3 of us watched in 1994.
Anyway, Tanya Zayeda and Grant Hilton were on the board of a charity called Peace for the Children.
Oh, nice.
It's a good charity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want peace for the children?
A
lovely idea.
Scumbags. Absolutely.
To raise funds for children living in war zones.
By the
Bring them a bit of peace.
Good.
Just the one problem. The charity was not registered in Queensland, and thus it was and is an offence to raise funds. The ABC reported back in 2011, Joe.
Oh, you sound like a hater. So a court on the Gold Coast has fined a charity associated with former Bollywood actor Tanya Zayeda for collecting funds while not registered in Queensland. Zayeda and another director of the Peace for the Children charity, 41-year-old Grant Hilton, were charged after investigation by the Office of Fair Trading. Hilton pleaded guilty in the Southport Magistrates Court to charges of unlawfully applying for support for an unregistered charity. He was fined $10,000 and the charity was fined $50,000. They're stealing from children. The government is stealing from children.
I don't think there was actually 50 large to begin with. We'll get on to that. No conviction was recorded in either instance. We've already got Grant on the contempt conviction. But Tanya Zayeda, it's hard to know just what her level of involvement was, but she sat on the board and she did the wrong thing. And earlier, the Courier Mail reported in the same year, this is 2011, Joel.
So, former aid worker and author Kay Danes was invited to be an ambassador for PCFC.
That's
declined.
Peace for the Children Fund.
That's Peace for the Children. That's Peace for the Children. I bet this guy has social media posts about Ukraine being the bad guys too. Just say. But declined after raising concerns about its governance with Zayeda and co-director Grant Hilton. Quote, Another friend has a charity, and if you go to their governance link online, it has the names of people on their board, all the charity details, the tax details, everything you want to know. This is Miss Dane saying this. Continuing, I sent Tanya and Grant an email and said, look, you need to provide this information. I got nothing except we are 100% legal. But there was never any documentation. It's classic Solvency shit. It just didn't sit right with me. And that's the thing. They'll just tell me, like, it's 100% legal. It's like, that's not what I'm asking, bro. But interesting response. Thanks.
So records show that SovCit Grant Hilton registered as he wasn't a SovCit at the time. He's become a SovCit.
I was going to say the Courier Mail did not call Grant Hilton a SovCit. Yeah. Don't sue us.
Records show that Grant Hilton resigned as a director of the bogus charity in December 2010, but not before a fundraiser in a Gold Coast nightclub that same month. The Courier Mail goes on, Joel.
At a December 7, 2010 fundraiser at a Gold Coast nightclub where, why can't I say that? Gold Coast nightclub, where groups paid $3,000 a booth to mix with the likes of, I love this, Underbelly star Damien Walsh Howling, who? Yeah. Warwick Kappa, I'll pay $3,000 and not to spend time with you. Jeff Fennick, who actually turned out to be a cooker, and Kai Hurst, who is a person. I don't know.
I don't know who Kai Hurst is, but all I can tell you, if you think Jeff Fennick, I should say, being a cooker is the worst thing about him, you don't know too much about the gangland in New South Wales.
Yeah, no, I probably shouldn't say too much publicly, but
probably shouldn't say too much more than that.
It's also it's Paulie Fennick who went cooker. Anyway, they're probably both. Musicians John Butler and Michael Franti donated songs to a CD that PFTC is marketing to raise $100,000. I don't know where they got there. And the group also claims to have attracted the support of tennis star Pat Cash. And this is me adding this. Many listeners will know is a massive cooker who went on Hoodie's fucking bloody live stream thing with fucking Kelly Slater. Cooker. So,
Grant's got the unregistered charity here. He's on the board. He's actually just resigned. But the function went ahead. They raised $22,000 from that event in December on the Goldie. But only $3,000 was handed over to registered charities in war zones. The remainder, a mystery.
It's gone to a Kia dealership.
Now, Grant probably didn't have to pay his $10,000 fine either, Joel, for not registering a charity, as handed down by a magistrate, because he was about to go belly up. He was about to go bankrupt. He declared bankruptcy in 2011 when his company, Slocum Investments, was placed into a liquidation with debts of $2.6 million. Slocum Investments was established, I should say, to create a luxury retreat for millionaires in Yuki, home of friend of the podcast, Pete Evans, in northern New South Wales. Yep. As far as we can tell, Grant has no association with Craigie Pete, but his millionaire retreat, that is Grant Hilton's millionaire retreat, designed to be full of transcendental navel gazing, wasn't quite what it appeared. He was selling this idea as this multi-millionaires retreat. But I've seen the plans, which received a qualified development approval by the Tweed Heads Council. So any investment that he made in the land, and we don't know enough about that Slocum investment. He was the principal of the company, sole director. So he bought the land in Yuki. He got the DA, so he's actually made money.
Yes.
Once that DA goes through, then that land... That land value goes, appreciates significantly.
Exactly.
So I don't know what happened with the $2.6 million loss. I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest that he had oversubscribed investors. But anyway, the thing is, as I say, conceptually, this was supposed to be millionaires retreat, transcendental reflection, the sort of reflection that Grant Hilton did in jail. But out of jail.
Yes.
I think that was the way it was going to go. But I've seen the plans, right? I've seen the plans that was actually, as I say, the DA got approved in 2006, a qualified approval. Yeah. But it was a long way. The plans were a long way from a millionaire's hostel. It was said to be there was dormitory accommodation.
Amazing. He's actually.
if you're a millionaire, you go, oh yeah, look. I love just hunkering in with fucking people I've never met before. Can
Just
I have the top
bunking up.
bunk?
Yeah, just bunking up. Let's do it. Let's do this. Yeah.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
I'll shiv you for the top bunk. You can see where he got his inspiration from.
You're too stressed, man. You're too stressed. You need to sit on the lower bunk.
But I did so much good thinking in the dormitory rooms in Silverwater. I did so much
marketed
good
as a millionaire's retreat. The plans, they had two huge, big hostel style rooms, and there were no private bedrooms.
Amazing.
From the plans I looked at.
Did they have a toilet?
Oh, they did have toilets. They had to have, by the Tweed Heads Council, they had to have car parking for 29. There were residents' objections, and but these were overcome. They're mainly around traffic. It's on a fairly quiet bit of road.
They get pissy about the roads.
So they're going to have millionaires just steaming down the world, clambering over each other to see who can get on the top bunk in the.
You linked me
hostel.
that. They were like, we play soccer on the road. We should be able to play soccer on the road. It's like, you shouldn't play soccer on the road.
There was a bit of NIMBYism going on. Look, it came to nothing anyway because Grant had sought investment, and those investors lost precisely $2.6 million.
Yeah, it went straight to the Care dealership. And that's how he got his car.
SovCits Grant has busied himself with. The websites are amazing. They're just design nightmares. Electric supercars, where you get to design your own supercar, not just buy one in off the shelf. You get to design your supercar. They
do look pretty cool. They don't look like they exist, but they look pretty cool.
There's a lot of artist images there on that website.
It's the home.
Yeah, it seems like a bad idea, and it's electric, of course, and it seems like a bad idea, and is. And he's also in the solar-powered yacht business, which is almost certainly another scam. In another news.com.au entry, Grant is seen warding off Queensland Police's water squad when he sailed into a restricted area on the Goldie. Restricted because there was an air show on at the time.
Yes. It was very sad. Grant was lapping up the police attention because, attention's currency at this point. We're not sure whether he was fined or not. God, he should have been. But he was moaning about his loss of freedom, and he was all cross that he couldn't sail around wherever he pleases. Oh, what's this shit about fucking jumping?
Look, it was, well, you can see the photovoltaic cells in the background. So this is obviously
big solar panels.
One of his boats. Yachts have photovoltaic cells. This is not unusual. The whole idea is that they would have more than that. Mm-hmm. And therefore, I don't know. It just looks like a scam. No, it goes without saying, listeners, that you should not give $1 single to this clown, let alone the $25,000 for an international discretionary fund, whatever the fuck that is.
No, absolutely not. This is just a man who's basically gone from being a con artist to thinking, I don't need to go and find rubes. I know where they live. They're SovCits. I have this in the bag. So he's now shooting fish in a fucking barrel.
So this is a serial con artist, and I have no problem saying that, And if Grant wants to sue, hey, buddy, we'll see you in court. We'll see you in court, champ, and we will make your career well and truly known. We'll probably find out a bit more about you as well.
Oh, yeah.
But he's actually said, with that stunt in front of the Queensland Police and the one on the water, he's actually saying, I want SovCits, or those who have contemplated sovereign citizenry, to be my clients. So this is what he's doing. He's actually pitching at it. So we got you, Grant Hudson or Grant Hilton.
Whatever your real name is.
It didn't take long. It just didn't, it took about 20 minutes to find out most of this stuff.
You did a good deep dive. You pulled up the council things. You pulled up the DA. That's credit where credit's due. I saw you working on this.
Well, it looked like I just remember being my first contact was with Grant Hilton. There's this supercilious guy. He's got this kind of boyish face.
He does, very
and
boyish.
Just telling us about how the government was just illegal and all this sort of stuff. And that was around the That was around being pulled over by the water police.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember thinking, a lot of the shit you're talking here, and then I just did a bit of searching, and it really just didn't take long to expose this guy as the inveterate con artist that he is.
Yeah.
Most of all, of course, we've been able to answer the perennial question, which comes first? And it's con artist first, and then you become a SovCit, and then you want to take all their money.
100%. And I'm not saying Jamie McIntyre did this. I would never say that. Other people may have said that, but I would never say that. Well, it has been a huge week in Pete Evans, with the disgraced former celebrity chef once again using legacy social media to push his wacky views on health and medicine. Aww. Telegram wasn't giving him the feels.
No.
Well, Pete did get the ass from Instagram. He never really stopped posting. It's just that nobody really cared.
Yeah.
Like, he had another Instagram account. This was for his Evolve network, which he's just decided to rename to Chef Pete Evans because apparently Mark Zuckerberg is now a crusader of truth and freedom. Of course,
we'll see.
Someone should probably tell Dave Oneegs that, who just got his marching orders from Meta, as we just mentioned. Swings and roundabouts, my friend. Unfortunately, your chemtrails are too chemtraily for Marky Mark with his nice new perm. Anyway, so look, this is, of course, a newsworthy event. And yes, I do grasp the irony of lampooning others for writing a pointless article on Pete Evans. Some of the desperate shit we've used to keep this fucking segment alive is just embarrassing. But the Sydney Morning Herald, which is meant to be a respected masthead, couldn't help themselves and ran this article.
He was banned from social media. So how come Chef Pete Evans is back?
Good question. Easy answer. He's not. I don't think he actually wants to be honest.
No.
From my estimates, he's made a fuckload of money on Bitcoin, which I'm sure he hasn't sold, but he could do it any time if he needed to. His food retreats, including the ones without food, were making him something like $300,000 a year. Now his boy, the HHS secretary, Bobby Jr., he can just sort of sit back and smile as children die by the hand of his friend in the US. Just watch. What fun. Popcorn. He likes popcorn. It's all a movie. It's all a movie watching other people's children die.
Loves
anyway, he's also made a return to the legacy media. I know how much you love that term. This is featuring in New Dawn magazine.
Dawn magazine?
It's legacy media, mate. It's legacy media. It's paper. Comes out in newsagents. Legacy.
Not heard of that one.
The irony. Well, that's the thing. So most of you have heard of Nexus magazine, but you haven't heard of New Dawn, because New Dawn is like sort of Nexus's like sort of underachieving cousin. But look, he's got an exclusive interview in there. An exclusive interview. It is titled on the front page, "The Return of Pete Evans, Why Health is the Ultimate Act of Rebellion." Wow. Okay. Cool. So it's a bit sad when eating a kale smoothie with a fucking spoon is considered counterculture, but this is where we're at. This is where we're at now, guys.
I can see what New Dawn is all about now. I thought it was like a New Women's Weekly, but it is, well, according to its own fluff, the world's most unusual magazine.
It is unusual.
We got Pete Evans.
It is unusual. It is basically the less serious cousin of Nexus magazine, published by the same person, an old friend who I don't think likes me much these days. So look, shout out to Ben, who's probably listening as well, who was mate to Duncan. It is edited by Duncan Rhodes, who is the Nexus magazine editor. It's pretty much the same thing. It just has less people reading it.
Oh my God, I'm just looking at their rubbish. Okay.
Less interesting mailing lists. Nexus, I believe, has Dan Aykroyd on the mailing list, whereas this probably doesn't. But look, this is a sad thing. Nexus, I used to read Nexus. We had a lifetime subscription through Duncan. They just sent them out, and I used to read them on the toilet. This is part of my Cooker journey here. This is my Cooker Bible. New Dawn, we didn't get sent New Dawn, though, despite the fact that it did exist. But look, they're the same sort of thing. It's just the sad thing is now they are full-blown MAGA mouthpieces, where Pete had a small part on the front cover. It was Elon Musk and Trump as the main feature, which is just charming. Whereas back in the day, it used to be all like cool, like mystical shit with aliens and stuff, and now it's just dumb. But look, this is the thing. I like to think that you just play to your crowd. And you think, okay, Cooker's like MAGA, let's go with this. But I've seen some posts from Duncan Rhodes that suggests he actually believes this bullshit, which is so embarrassing. Possibly. I used to think he was smart. My mistake. Whoops. Oh, well. But look, it's not about Duncan. We're not talking about Duncan here. We're
I don't
about
even know who
Pete.
Duncan is.
It's Pete. Pete is back. He's back. He's back. If you consider changing his Instagram username to be back. Yeah, he's back. I get what? Okay. He was also in an interview in a magazine, which is read by about 60 people. Good. I'd say we probably have more listeners than anyway. So still, look, the only way up is from here. Kyle Sandilands uncancelled him a while ago, which did absolutely nothing to rehabilitate his image because, I mean, you don't want Kyle Sandilands to endorse you, to be honest. And according to the Sydney Morning Herald piece, an interview on 2GB with Lucy Zellick in the afternoon shift called his Nazi cartoon an innocent meme.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
bit of an innocent, what is it, a Sonnenrad?
Sonnenrad? Yeah.
Bit of an innocent sort of SS symbol.
Yeah.
Don't we all make that mistake every now and then, get tattooed on our foreheads?
Yeah. I mean, what really happened in the 40s? Let's talk about it. No, let's not. We learned it in high school. But the reality is Pete doesn't need to be back. And I know you're going to hate this, guys. I don't want to end on a sad note, but he's happy. He's happy, just like most of the worst people on earth right now. Andrew Tate just went to Florida. Everyone's winning. The worst people on earth are winning. Just hanging out, being fabulously wealthy, empowered by the decline of the US empire on the back of pseudoscience and sensationalist bullshit from his mate Bobby Kay, of which he's probably inspired some. While he just sits on Telegram posting screenshots of people like Viktor Orban. I'm not kidding. That, like, just no commentary.
He's terrific. Yeah,
just Viktor Orban praising Trump. Fuck me. He's just able to go mask off now. He lives on his lovely property. He's able to continue posting these recipes made with prohibitively expensive ingredients that only rich people can make because that is just what nature intended.
Just nature. Yeah. And you have been listening to the Conditional Release Program with your host, Jack the Insider and Joel Hill. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And if you've enjoyed our bullshit, throw us a 5-star review on your podcast app.
Jack can be found on Twitter at Jack the Insider if he actually looks at it. Me, Crunchy Moses with a K, I don't look at it.
I check my DMs.
I check my DMs every now and then. But there's just group chats. I don't know. I still love you guys. Sorry. We set up a Facebook page you can find fairly easily. Promoting a podcast is easier than they're done. So if you please share this episode or a past episode, this is how we actually get things. Not social media, not bullshit. Tell your mates at work that their fucking pilled uncles need to hear some of our episodes and then make them patrons so they have to hear our really weird shit from the back category.
Yes, the Patreon is up and running. We ask listeners to consider throwing a few dollars our way.
Yeah, do it. You'll get the lights on. And we have so much bonus content on there, and lots of it is defamatory. So get on there before it gets popular, and we have to basically delete it. Because if we had too many patrons, we would legally have to delete that. It would be over. It would be so over.
And finally, all feedback, tips and death threats should be sent to the Conditional Release Program at gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, even if it's to tell us you've registered your car under international law and we could have a drive, but sadly, the car's in dry dock.
Oh, that's such a shame. Look, I got to pay my registration, but in rubles that I was sent in a dirty envelope from Elon Musk from Washington, D. What? Okay, doesn't matter anymore. Who cares? Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
I don't think I ever want to talk to any of those people.
Fuck me, you guys are bastards.